Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. To my left, or to your right, we've got Scott. So hope you are well, Scott.
Yeah, not bad, Dan. Not bad. Obviously in the doldrums this morning.
Yeah, I think we all are. I mean, what could you put like a finger on what caused last night? Is it the change of formation? Is it the players or was it the tactics? Is there any like thing that you could put it
Well,
on?
I think for me it was lost in midfield and it was lost pretty early on with indiscipline. I thought Chiari really struggled. From the off, he wasn't for his size and his strength. He wasn't winning any balls, and I felt a bit sorry for Lewis O'Brien because it felt like he was carrying him in the first half. And then, Nico struggled up against Ashley Barnes. As soon as he got in the book, it was going to be a problem. Nico's obviously a young player, still learning, and he was rattled. I think, and Barnes is a good player, and we seem to give Maddison the freedom of the park in between the midfield and the attack, and I think that was the frustrating thing is why did. Whether that was tactically, I don't know, but somebody should have just been. I just thought that's why Chiari was on the pitch to play in that position to stop Maddison picking balls up in the hole and just stand on him. So I don't know whether that was the plan or not, but obviously, I think if the one you scores, then it's potentially a different game, and it could have been. And that's the problem at this level, isn't it? It's all right to say we're conceding goals, we're getting overrun, but bottom line is nobody's doing the job in the team at the minute. I don't think anybody can say that. We've missed some good chances throughout the game that should have been scored, irrelevant of what the score was at that particular point. You have to take those chances and put them away. But just going back to the original thing, I think the worry is that when they concede, it's that collapse. And, I'm singling out Chiari here, but, I'm not really one for doing that. But, he's gone chasing the ball on Leicester's penalty box straight after the goal, and he's kind of lost the ball. What on earth is he doing up there anyway? I don't think he knew, to be honest, but he's up there, and then he's out of position, and then we just get picked off, and it's 2-0. And yes, it was a good goal, but this is it. This is the Premier League, isn't it? And if you don't set up right and you give Premier League players that freedom to do what they're good at, then it's bread and butter. And, that's exactly what Barnes did. And then obviously Chiari got caught out with Maddison, brings him down, and, it's a peach of a free kick. It's an absolute peach. It's gone right in off the post. It wasn't good to see him arguing. They all seem to be pointing at Lewis O'Brien. But I'm not sure he could have done too much about that free kick, to be honest, because it was literally curled right into the top corner in off the post. So, yeah, I didn't like to see that, to be honest. So, yeah.
I mean, you touched on a couple of points I would mention, especially about if we took the chances when we did, it might have been a different ball game last night. I mean, if Rainey scored at the start, but when it was 0-0, it might have been different. And if we had took the chances in the throughout the game, Leicester might have started panicking. So, which for anything,
Yeah, I think that's the frustrating thing, really, that Leicester were, well, I won't go as far to say they were there to be got at, but obviously it was a big occasion, and the atmosphere, it kind of warranted that. I think the Leicester fans sensed that if they were ever going to get a win, it was going to be against their rivals, Forest at home. They like playing Forest at home, and we kind of had to weather it. And I think that's the bit where I think this formation of that front three behind a Onyu is too much. I think we've got two similar players in Brennan and Jesse, who, they've got quality. There's no doubting that they've got quality in moments, but they're both that type of player that, I think will drift in and out of the game, and you're counting on that quality, when it comes. And I think we can't afford to have two of them at the minute, and you can probably put Morgan Gibbs White a little bit in that bracket as well. Although, I thought he did all right, Morgan Gibbs White, to be honest. He just looked really frustrated, but a cracking through ball for a 1-year for that chance. He had a few others. He nearly slid Johnson in first half with a great through ball, and he should have scored at the end, to be honest. But yeah, I think there's got to be some decisions made now. I think with Cooper, and that's the worry. That we've got to get a result quick. He's got to get a result quick because it's going to be inevitable what's going to happen, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously after the game as well, there was then reports started coming out about and people might and it's literally on the brink of it and Rafa Benitez being linked. I mean, it was inevitable it was gonna happen, but are you a keeper in or are you a keeper out or can you see if we need to pick up that like you said we need to pick up the result.
Yeah, well, yeah, I want Cooper to stay, with, to keep things ticking over, but they can't keep losing by 3 or 4 goals. That's the bottom line. He's not going to last long losing by that many. I think there is an argument that if anybody new comes in, they're going to have the same problem. It's not as if this is Cooper's team from last season that he knows very well, and they're losing, they're getting battered every week, and it's not good enough, and they need a change of manager. This is a new team, new players, all getting to know each other. So it's not as if a new man will come in and say, right, I can shape you like you're a team already. It's not. They're not a team. They're not a squad. And, that was the gamble of, well, I say gamble of signing all those players. We had to sign those players to give us a chance to stay up. So it's whether 23 was too many. There's probably an argument that maybe that was too many all at once. But we've had injuries already, so the argument is that we would have needed a stronger squad. However, that strength in depth at the minute is not counting for anything because we don't look like a team in any shape or form at the minute because it's all similar kind of. Well, he's changing the dynamics of the team, different midfield partnerships. That doesn't seem to be working. Lingard's a bit in and out. A 1-year was left out for a few games. He seems to be back in now. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of think we need to stick with Cooper, but he's got to get a result against Villa because another 3 or 4-0, and that's going to be it, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the positive that came out of last night, even though obviously, as I say, the keyboard warriors was fully in swing last night on social media, but the fan base that was there was just unreal. That stuck behind the team. Well, from what you heard on Sky, that stuck behind the team throughout the game, which was nice. And even seeing this morning about seeing people songs as well.
Yeah, I suppose you could say that the fans, whether that was out of irony, I don't know, that keep themselves entertained, that they weren't going to let the result kind of rain on the parade. Keep going to keep singing, which is fine. I don't think I would have been singing, to be honest, if I'd have been there. But as soon as Leicester scored that fourth, nobody's singing anymore. So, which is inevitable. So I don't know. I don't know. Obviously the fans are still singing, kept the players going. Possibly, sure it helped. I think Cooper was right that they didn't give up, and I think that's that was a bit of a positive that actually they did stick at it and they still kept trying to create something right to the end when Gibbs White missed that chance.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, the last thing I probably wanted to touch up on was about obviously we said earlier about the players who are arguing at the after the red goal. I mean, Sky Sports did pick it up. I mean, it's nothing that they're actually arguing and they care about it. I mean, what your take on it?
Well, I suppose you don't want to particularly see it, but if you play sport and it's not going your way, then people fall out with each other.
Mm,
That's the kind of because they care and they want to kind of they want better. Don't really know what they were arguing about, to be honest. So they might have been valid points. It might not have been valid points, but I think at least it shows that they care, and I think they do.
mm,
But I think it's about the learning more about. I mean, I know it's a cliche that you learn more about each other in times like this, but it's true.
mm.
It's all right if it's going well, but we're in a real bad patch. And talk about this is going to kind of we're going to see who's up for the fight and who's not in the next few weeks. I think this is going to be quite telling. And I didn't see anything on the pitch to say that actually they're giving up last night. It's just it's errors and it's stuff that we should be cutting out. And I think that's the thing that's going against Cooper at the minute is it's repeating week after week.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I do agree with that, and hopefully, I mean, it does make a question as well that are they reviewing the games like they are, um, or do they need to like look at it in a different way if that makes sense? Who have made that step up and you're probably looking at it as a championship view, not a Premier League view, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it's probably the expectations raised with all the money spent, which is that's understandable. But if you said at the end of the playoff final that 6 of those players that started won't be here in August, then you'd be like, oh my god, alarm bells ringing. So I think some of the players, I don't think they're all bad signings. They've all shown a bit of quality, but it's confidence, isn't it? It's playing, confidence will only come with results, and this is what we're up against at the minute. We've got to kind of stop the rot, even if it's a point and a scrappy point. And I think this is where Cooper might need to look after himself a little bit and maybe set us up a bit more robustly to try and stay in a game, because we've got players that can cause a problem on the break. And I suppose we did that against Fulham to a degree in a first half performance where it was quite controlled and quite measured. But again, we switched off there. But it'll be interesting to see how he shapes up against Villa. But Mangala was back and he did all right. I thought it would look better when he came on. I thought Freuler did okay. Aurier at right back looked a lot more solid, than Nico. I'd like to see Toffolo back. I'd like to see Niakate back in the team. And yeah, they need to think about this kind of this midfield. This front four, I would call it. Of one of those, I think, has got to go. And it wouldn't be Awoniyi. It would be one of Brennan, Lingard, and Morgan Fitzgerald. I think that's what's hurting us at the minute.
Yeah, that completely agree. Brilliant. I mean, actually saying it, as you said it, I just thought about it. Like, I know that we said start of the season saying that we're going for it, but now, now we look at it now, I'm thinking, do we have to go to set up to be that bit more robust that a lot of promoted teams do? So I completely agree with you on that one.
I think it's just too soon for us to be, playing champagne football with a team of strangers. That takes time. It's understanding. It is. And it's I think the frustrating thing is we've not seen those improvements really as much as we would have liked. There's flashes. I think we are playing to Awoniyi's strengths. That there was certainly getting a few balls down the middle for him to run onto, and that was encouraging. So you can see it in flashes. It's very fleeting, the flashes, but there's one or two moments where we look good, and as I say, that's been very fleeting of a few moments in a game. But you can see signs of some kind of some quicker passing out of midfield, bit of one touching, get into Morgan Gibbs White, and then he's looking for a pass forward, and that's we have to hang on to the positives, and if that's all we've got at the minute, that's all we've got.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to say about your socials?
Yeah, you can follow me on Munich and Madrid on Twitter.
So I'd like to say thank you for coming on.
No worries, Dan. Catch you
So,
later.
so I'd like to say thank you for watching, guys.